Hello, sports fans, and welcome back. It's Foux and Friends. We got the year 2024, episode 2, if you want to call it that. And I got my guy Gavriel Wilkins on the line here. Gavriel, how's it going? Happy Wednesday.
Appreciate it. Everything's going well, man. I can't complain at all. It's always a blessing and a privilege to be able to talk basketball, especially when you got blockbuster trades coming up left and right. And as you know, we got a big one to talk about.
Yeah, that's right, we do. And we're in the Fantasy Hoops League, and I remember hitting the group chat yesterday, and I said that, hey, call me crazy, but the Pacers are contenders. Now, I don't know. I do want to clarify. There's a difference between a contender and someone who's going to win the championship. I don't think they're going to win the championship, but I could see them being in that Final Four now. This is a team that just went from really good to borderline great, and still a lot of time left for them to just get even better because it was January 17th when they made the deal. The deal was the Raptors receiving Bruce Brown, Kira Lewis, Jordan Nora, uh, two 2024 first round picks via the Pacers, and conditional first round picks in 2026. They get Pascal Siakam and a future second round pick via the Pelicans. Raptors additionally had to waive Christian Coloco. So before I even get into the Pacers, which is like the big meat of the sandwich here, I just want to say that this is a great deal for the Raptors. I just want to get that out of the way. This is a team that's clearly looking to get younger, and they just got a bunch of assets for a really good 29-year-old power forward, small forward, center, versatile player. But he just obviously wasn't in the window. He already was a key contributor. You could say the second best player on a championship team not so long ago, but he doesn't make sense for that roster right now. Getting a bunch of draft picks does. So, like I said, I just want to get out ahead and say great move for the Raptors, and I obviously like for the Pacers a lot too. What's your initial reaction?
Well, the biggest winner in this deal is Pascal Siakam.
Right.
He's the guy that, as you said, didn't fit in Toronto's window as they were seeking to get younger. They didn't want to pay him. Now he's going to a place where they have a solid basketball environment and they want to pay him. And I believe he will get paid there. And what I like about it is, for all the talk and the fit about chasing another ring, Pascal got to the place that he wanted to be and he's going to get paid. And I think he's going to have a lot of fun playing a lot of basketball over there too, because he's stepping into a tailor-made basketball environment. And I don't think a lot of casual fans realize how good Pascal Siakam truly is. Is he an elite shooter? No, he's not. But one skill set that Pascal Siakam brings to this Pacers team is he knows how to run the floor and get out in transition. And who better to play alongside of than Tyrese Halliburton, the league leader in assists, a guy that's going to be selected as an all-star starter in the Eastern Conference backcourt. Is going to be able to find him and put him in position to succeed. You add that on top of the fact that he's a tremendous cutter off the ball and knows how to move off the ball. He's going to be able to apply pressure and put pressure on the rim that's going to open up so much of the floor for the shooters as well when guys are trying to get back and play defense on them in transition. So I really like the fit from a basketball standpoint. I think his length and size is going to give him some versatility defensively. It's going to take a lot of pressure off of Miles Turner. And I'm curious to see where they go. I don't think that this is a championship contender, but I think they will make for a tough out in a best of seven series to one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, such as a Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, Milwaukee Bucks squad have to go up against.
I think when you talk about those top three teams, those are still the top three teams. It's changed in recent years. The big man's back, you know. They were saying that the center was like a dying breed. Well, maybe the old school center might have died off, but these new centers are a problem. And I think that the combination of Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam, that really helps the Pacers do something that they couldn't really before. Like they would just have to turn it into a track meet, and they still will. They're still, if not number one, been either number one or two or three in pace all season long, but usually at that top spot as far as pace goes. And but now you are able to match up about as well as you could, about as well as anybody in the NBA is going to be able to with the shot blocking ability and versatile defense that you're going to have of between Miles Turner and Pascal down there when they got to worry about a Kristaps Porzingis or Jason Tatum driving the lane, Joel Embiid. It takes two to stop Joel a lot of times, and so that's really going to help there. And of course, Giannis and Brook, you know, and so a lot, and even Bobby Portis. I'm going to throw Bobby Portis in there because he's a guy who can cause problems as well. And so I like that this made them match up better with the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference. And then to talk on your point about how this makes a little bit more basketball sense, I think that you add the length and athleticism on the defensive end, like I mentioned on offense. Like Pascal's a guy who can drive, and he's going to be able to, as you mentioned, really open up some of the lanes off that driving dish because he's a really good passer too.
Yeah.
And but they don't like they just got bigger. They got so much bigger by adding Siakam without losing a step as far as pace and speed goes. And so it's impressive to me that the Pacers were able to find just the right piece because they have such a unique brand of play right now. They found just the right piece where they can solve a lot of their issues without sacrificing any of their identity. Now, before this trade, I would call their identity gimmicky. Not to say it's not effective, but like I said, they just would turn it into a track meet, but they would beat a team 144 to 132, you know. But now that other team might not score 132 points. And so I think it's one of those moves where you never know because the Heat got to the finals last year, right? And they were a play-in team. But when the houses of cards start to expose themselves and fold in the spring, sometimes these teams that just make more basketball sense and have a sound structure are able to weather these storms. And I don't think that the Pacers are quite there yet, but they just got a lot more stable as far as how that built is and how sturdy that foundation could be uh, going into the tournament when it's all said and done in the regular season.
Well, the way when I look at the Pacers, I have to give them credit for being able to get Siakam and not giving up key pieces that made up their depth,
Yeah.
such as a Benedict Mathurin. They didn't give him up. They didn't have to give up Buddy Hield. They didn't even have to give up their first round pick last year in the draft and Jarrett Walker, who I think is going to be an immediate contributor to this ball club within the next 2 years or so. Once they find a way to get some of that wing depth out the picture a little bit and they flip that for some more assets, because I think once he gets minutes, he's going to contribute right away for them. But when I look at the Pascal Siakam trade, I have to give the Indiana Pacers a ton of credit. This is a franchise that's usually been conservative, played things rather close to the vest, and not made the big move. They made the big move, and they showed Tyrese Halliburton with this move that they're committed to him being the long-term face of the franchise, who is going to carry and ignite this ball club, hopefully, to some upward paths, in the Eastern Conference as they look to take down some of the top dogs someday. I don't know if that'll be this year. And, you bring up the Miami Heat. That was a team that had been together for the last 3-4 years with Jimmy Butler. They have continuity. This is something that's going to take time to gel, but I do like the pieces that are being put in place in Indiana under Rick Carlisle, a championship proven head coach who's won and had success in Dallas as well as Detroit during the early days of his coaching day tenure. But like I said, I like the move a lot for the Pacers, and I'm curious to see how things work out for them on the floor, especially now where you have size, length, depth, versatility with shooting alongside of one of the best playmakers in the game in Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, absolutely. And defense was the problem before. They as of today have the fourth worst defensive rating in the NBA and the best offensive rating. And so it's like offense isn't a problem. They didn't get any worse on offense. They got a lot better on defense. And like I said, they maintained that identity. Before we we wrap this up here, though, I got to ask because we mentioned a little bit yesterday. Um, Me and you seem to think that they're just not done yet. There's another 2 months or so left before the trade deadline passes. Are there any players you expect them to be inquiring about or think would be particularly good fits?
For the Indiana Pacers, I would have to say Andrew Wiggins. That's a guy who could add further depth and size on the wing for them, provide them with some versatility with his ability to switch out and defend multiple positions, and a guy that could be in need of a change of scenery. And I think it'd be a tremendous pickup for the Indiana Pacers because you look at Andrew Wiggins and what he's been able to do at Golden State, albeit some ups and downs and some inconsistencies and the like. But he's a champion. And if you want to go to the next level, you need guys like that on your ball club. And he's also a veteran who's been there and done that. And a lot of the young guys over there that haven't been where he's been can learn from.
Yeah, I think that could be a great move. And there's a lot of sellers out there. And so it'll be interesting. The think that kind of makes it unique is as far as tradable assets go, who even do they have to offer at this point? I think it's like kind of a short list. Um, I mean, Buddy Hield, and honestly, Buddy's got to come at a bit of a price because Buddy's a nice player and he's a good fit. But yeah, I think if you add Wiggins, and I also just wanted to spell a few things here because like I see the chatter on Twitter and I talk hoops with a lot of people and we throw around the word washed too loosely. These players aren't washed. These are the best basketball players in the world. And the worst guy on the worst team's bench in the NBA would drop 100 on just about anybody in any gym at any time. But when we're talking about a guy like Andrew Wiggins, he's not a bench player. He's a guy who's been a pretty good player his entire career. And for whatever reason, it's just not working right now for him the same way it was in Golden State. And I don't know, I don't have a reason why necessarily there. But what I do know is just a few years ago, he was an extremely crucial X factor in a championship victory because of his way of being an aggressive rebounder, playing really good defense, and playing either forward position at a high level. And so when you look at what the Pacers would need to go from, I'd call them like this B plus team right now up to an A team as far as my grade goes, as far as like championship contenders and being the best of best in the NBA. You add a guy like Wiggins with that skill set and that ability to, because then all of a sudden you can really start getting freaky with your lineups. All of a sudden you can run something if you want to get small Siakam at the 5, Wiggins at the 4, even. Not to mention Turner, Siakam, Wiggins lineups, and it just kind of creates this monster style of defense where you just got giants everywhere. And so I would love for them to make that kind of move. The guy I brought up yesterday was DeMar DeRozan, but that's the thing. I just don't feel like that they have the trade capital to pull off something quite like that as far as what the Bulls are looking to get back. But it'll be interesting to see what they do because I just don't think they're done. They're clearly in win now mode, and that's where things are about to get really interesting because the East's relatively wide open. All right, well, that's all we got for this episode of Foux and Friends. If you enjoy the show, please hit the subscribe button. And if you ever have any ideas, hit them in the comments about any topics you'd like us to discuss. We'll be talking a lot more sports and having a lot more friends on the program. Gavriel, thank you for joining me. We'll see you soon.